Well, hello everyone, and welcome to week number 250 of the virtual Cobalt Cafe Poetry Reading Series. Thank you all for being here. My name is Rick Lupert. I'm your MC tonight. In addition to our open reading, our featured reader is our own regular Denise Dumars. I'm claiming ownership of Denise tonight in this context, though if you follow her at all, you know she's parts of lots of different poetry things that are going on. So there's probably all kinds of people who are claiming pieces of her in terms of ownership. Someone has a leg. So well, I could go on like this. But tonight she's all ours. Denise, happy that you're here. We're going to do a little bit of our open reading first, and then we will have Denise give her featured reading, and then we will do the rest of the open reading. That's how it works. If you would like to read and you haven't already done so, please send me a message in the chat and I'll be happy to add you to the list. You can read up to 2 poems. 2 poems is our maximum in the open reading, and as always, our suggested time limit is less is more. So keep that in mind as you're figuring out how much it is that you would like to read. You should have the chat room open because that's the primary way that people interact with each other throughout the festivities, since everyone is musted. That's a term that I've just invented that I haven't quite defined it yet, but I'll get back to you on it. I have people working on it. In the meantime, since you're all muted, of course, the chat room is how you are able to connect with each other, send each other messages, react to the poetry that you hear live on during the reading. If you're reading and you mention something that you want people to be able to check out, you can post links in there. Such a wonderful place to be, the chat room, so do take advantage of it. Finally, we do have a 1-drink minimum here at the Cobalt Cafe, so make sure that you have a beverage with you to honor that long-standing tradition that we have. Before we get to our first reader, I would like to ask if there are any questions. Cathabella.
Rick, do you have a way in your mind of connecting noodles and hairstyles?
I kind of wish the question had stopped at, do you have a way in your mind? Because immediately when you got to that part of the question, I was like, no, it's a shambles up there. Nothing is going on. It's every direction possible. But you went on, and now I have to consider the rest of what you asked.
Noodles and hairstyles.
I hadn't thought about it before, but
Neither had I.
once I figure out what musted means, I'm going to have my entire staff on that, and we should have a full report for you. Gosh, as soon as humanly possible. I don't recommend anyone boiling their hair. I can tell you that right away. And as far as I know, it's not edible. Though, on the other hand, if you try hard enough, I suppose anything is edible.
Thank you, Rick. Very good.
Sure. No problem. Thank you, Cathabella. Martin, looks like you have a question.
Hello, Rick. I was just wondering, do you have a favorite species of bird?
Gosh, that's a great question. Cockatiel just jumped into my head, but maybe I just like the word. I'm probably have to go emu. I think I really like emus a lot. I like the way they just kind of, appear out of nowhere, and then they've got these big heads, and they look at you, and they're kind of ominous. I will also mention that I heard recently that birds are really just dinosaurs that have been around for a long time, so I find that frightening and amazing all at the same time.
They were able to get away because they had the wings.
Yeah. All right, cool. Thank you. Thank you very much, Martin. Good question. Any other questions before we get going? I see no other people with questions, so we are going to get going. Christopher Bogart, you will be up second. Please welcome our first reader, Sean Mahoney. Hello, Sean.
Hello, Mr. Lupert. Hello, everybody. So, some some introductory material for this poem. This past Friday, I was rear-ended for the second time in 45 days. So this poem was composed over Friday night, Saturday night. It's kind of angry, but it's not full of profanity. There's a word or two, but it's not riddled with profanity. Um, yeah, I think I'm still sort of angry. But anyways, oh, also, this poem I think has probably the best title of any poem I've written, just because it's very, very different. So, Coleslaw Dignity. When I left you alone at night after 3, it was, I think, the storybook moment and perfect ending. 3 dead magi dropped from the sky, bounce up the joint. Spiritless, we disappeared within the slight scream or whimper. ProPublica and VOA. I'm almost nauseous having thought of the way we cook with human flaw. Coleslaw, dignity. The opposition needed a marker. Shiny space elastic man bounced as a pillow man, as a self-hating man, a man about the wrong side of town, an inflection so close to closing time, shiny rice paper wrapped bit of believers selling the very, very sad ending for airbenders. And in 45 days, I get rear-ended twice. So I'm thinking that 47 does not have this much power to what the fuck all. What have I done? I blame phones for all maladies, malfeasance, and misappropriation. You know who I am. You could care less as though I'm a bonded loyalist. Loyalist. I even hate the wife, brother and the mother, the dogs, the mother-in-law, the employer, the neurologist with aplomb. I dislike my neighbors, my city, the lakes I can still swim in, and the parks where skulls get cracked open. I will not bend a knee, and I will only kiss your coffin. I must admit, these last 45 felt as though the fix were in, like it was my time to be uncomfortable and tired. If I could swallow from your cup, keep it down, believe any screed bouncing out your presidential pen. I won't. Taps. Clear, clean bell tone. Funeral completion. Sell the national soul. Say we are all only dreaming of falling. End piece. Just the one.
On a diet tonight, Sean. I see. Sorry you had that experience. That's a terrible thing to have to go through, especially twice in such a short period of time. One can understand your feelings as you expressed them before you read the poem. You have every right to be angry and upset and disappointed with all humanity as a result of that. So solidarity, and just as a result of that, and out of deference for your needs tonight, we did officially nix the new segment we tried last week of what was it called? I forgot
geez.
the I forgot to close this door segment.
Something like
Something
that.
like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're not doing that.
Thank you so much. That means everything to me.
Sure,
I'm not sure I could have continued had that occurred again.
understood. Yeah, you're more important than that. Let me tell you that,
Oh, but
Sean.
keep talking. My head is growing. Hasn't felt this way in a long time.
That's my goal. But be careful. You don't want it to be too big because then it's a target for other cars. You know what I'm saying? And
Hard to
you've
get through the
already had
door
that
frame as
experience.
well.
Yeah, exactly. Sean, thank you for being here. Thank you for opening up the reading.
Thank you. Cheers.
Round of applause for Sean Mahoney. On deck, Carl Stillwell. Please welcome now Christopher Bogart. Hello, Christopher.
Hello, how are you? I'm going to read two poems, but I'm not going to read them from this book. However, I do want you to see this book because it's for sale and it's been out for about a month, and it's got 368 pages of very good poetry by 83 authors. It's called Silence is Consent. And that's all for the commercial. I'm sorry you can't see me, but in a way, you don't know how lucky you are. I'm going to be reading two poems. The first one is called Social Security. They both really refer to the fix we find ourselves in today. But in this particular case, everybody else in this country is becoming the other. And these are two things that I had gone through, one with a student that was from Mexico that I taught, and I was helping him get a job. And I'm going to tell you a little something about the form of the poem. I'm a student of Michael Waters, a poet that teaches at Monmouth University, and he used to do 12 or 14 syllable lines. And so I tried it with this poem. It's called Social Security. After the afterglow of his family's first diploma, after the green gown, the brown shoes, the goodbye blues, it's time for Eduardo to find some work to jumpstart his career. He has no skills to sell, no prospects worthy of mention, and nothing to recommend him unless the gang to which he once belonged is willing to offer a reference. Missing numbers still plague his days, missing driver's license, bank account, social security, a dearth of digits, including those tattooed to his fingers in faded blue. Their memory lingers, but no longer dictates commands. The first day of July, I pick him up on Morris Avenue. Once in the car, we joke about the possibilities. Corporate CEO is out. Competition's too stiff. For illegals without ID, dishwashing job, perhaps. We hit the restaurants, performing by the numbers now. Ask for an application, fill it out, return with a smile. We'll call you, polite lie. Stop after stop, app after app. A cattle call where all the cattle are without numbers. He hasn't eaten since last night. We find a local spot. As the waitress takes our orders, I ask if they're hiring. Discreetly, I tell her he has no documentation. She promises to ask and then returns with all our food. She tells us when we're finished that the cook will talk to him. We go to the back, we go back to the kitchen. The cook speaks in Spanish. Tener un trabajo, Eduardo asks. The cook replies. Then, as we leave, he says he wanted to sell me a fake ID. I pay the bill. We leave the place. There's nowhere else to go. As we depart the parking lot, he quips, I don't even remember Mexico. And the second one is called, wait a minute, it is called, here it is. ¿Qué es eso? ¿Qué es eso is Spanish for what is it? As I pushed my shopping cart around the fruit aisle at the local A&P, I saw the little boy in the child seat of the cart just ahead of me point to the sloping display of apples and ask, ¿Qué es eso? Manzanas, his father said patiently. The little boy paused to think about the word. Manzanas? He asked. The young mother smiled. The tanned young father, impeccably dressed in jeans, neatly pressed, and a green polo shirt, nodded, then repeated the word. Manzanas. I smiled at the lesson in language, then with my list in my hand, continued my grocery tour. When I finally arrived at the cashier station, a young couple was checking out. Mother was bagging. Father held his son. As I placed my selections behind their plastic divider on the back of the black rubber ramp, when their order had been rung, The young father handed his plastic gold card to the cashier for payment. The middle-aged cashier, Christine, her tag read, handed them coupons with their receipt. In slightly accented English, the young mother asked a simple question about coupons. Her little boy, not to be left out, chirped, "Manzanas," at the cashier. Christine looked up, her face a frozen mask. She answered the young mother's question with chilled politesse. The couple then thanked her. The little boy waved as they wheeled their groceries out of the store. It was when they departed that Christine turned to me with a face full of grimace and said simply, "What do you think of that?" "Of what?" I asked, not wanting to appear dumb. "What do you think?" "Of what?" She shook her head sadly again in dismay. It caused me to wonder how I was supposed to respond. When I failed to react, she just shook her head, checked me out, and handed me my receipt. No coupons, I guess, this time. As I loaded my groceries with its bag of manzanas onto the trunk of my car, I thought to myself, maybe it was just gas from acute indigestion that was the source of Christine's distress. Or maybe it was just a bit of bile. Thank you.
Christopher, thank you so much for being here, and again for the work that you did on Silence is Consent. Hope that continues to be very successful, and appreciate that you are part of our regular crew. Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
Round of applause for Christopher Bogart. On deck, Wendy Van Camp. Please welcome now Carl Stillwell. Hi, Carl.
Hi, Rick. Today's poem is a May Day, Mother's Day tribute to my working class mother who voted Republican. It's called "Let Me Cry, Preacher." Mama's gone, and no resurrection alive sermon going to comfort me now. That how great thou art solo was pretty, and maybe she requested it, but it ain't her. In our dancing days, if it didn't have that swing, then it didn't mean a thing. We all laughed with her the time she followed her elder behind, attempting a jitterbug step, but we all knew what she meant. The sounds she came to dig were whippoorwill calls, cricket responses, and hummingbird buzzing dies to defend turf around her feeder. Mama wasn't too religious. She never went to church much, and when she got mad, she'd often say shit or take the name of the Lord in vain. To be honest with you, Reverend, the flames of your hell didn't scare Mama nearly as much as not being able to feed her family. At 15, I got religion and started saying grace before meals. Mama said she thought it'd also be a good idea to remember the hands that prepared it. I was too much of a pious prick to get it then, but today I see we ought to be grateful for all the hard work it takes from farm to kitchen to put our daily bread on the table. Holding everything in when it's got to come out ain't never going to do nobody no good. So let me get it out, preacher. Then you can talk about wiping away all tears. But keep it short. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, keep it short. That's my motto too. That's why I'm only 5'2". I stopped right at 5'3", maybe. I don't know. It's been so long. I could be shrinking. But I'm all for it. Carl, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
Round of applause for Carl Stillwell. Nice to see you again. A couple more poets before our featured reader, Denise, on deck. Richard Loringer, please welcome now Wendy Van Camp. Hello, Wendy.
Hi, Rick. Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here at the Cobalt Poets. I am going to read two poems. I am actually known as a speculative poet, which means I write poetry and science fiction and fantasy themes. However, I thought I would start out with a haiku sonnet that is part of a museum project that I'm working on. It's about women empowerment. That's what the museum picked as the theme. And I thought I'd just test it out on you guys, if that's okay. It is called Reclaiming Her Name. In the library, books ready on author's table, no one knows her name. A moment of doubt. Will a woman's words be heard? Male pen name removed. Erasure refused. Stories of resilience. Voice gains composure. After the reading, autograph is requested. Her signature firm. Youthful woman clutches hand. Your real name means everything. And that is that poem. And thank you guys. And I will also read a speculative poem as well. This one is called Dragonette. It was nominated for a Riesling Award this year. And it is a fantasy poem. The form is haibun, which means it is a prose poem followed by a counterpoint haiku. Be mindful of personal space and cave boundaries. As I scattered food bones with my claw, engage in tail swirl dancing. This ancient tradition promotes unity and social bonding among our dragon kin. Dancing was boring. I'd rather be outside exploring the forest. Share your gemstones. A dragon community thrives when members share collected wealth. It fosters a sense of abundance and cooperation. Still, I hoarded tiny crystals under my sleeping mat, too shiny to share. Control your wing flaps gracefully. You will show off your coordination to earn the respect of your dragon peers. When I entered flight school, I didn't believe I needed her words any longer. When the Georges came, her words changed. Take part in forest patrols to ensure the safety of the dragon territory. I finished my training at the top of my class. Contemplate the beauty of the aurora borealis. Dragons should appreciate the wonders of nature. Her final words as I joined the mountain patrol and left home. Why did I not look back? Dragons value the wisdom passed down through tales. The memory of her voice in my mind, through long flights in the rain, enduring the heat of the sun, tumbling through trees. Her words haunt me as the George hurtles forward. Mother's wisdom lost. George's lance pierces the heart. Dragonette regrets. Thank you all. I'm done. Anyone who likes to follow poets, my Instagram handle is at @NoWastedInk. Thank you.
That's a great handle, Wendy. Thank you so much for being here. Nice poems, nice. Any reference to dragons, also I'm all for. So happy that you were here tonight. It's been a while, but you've been here before, I think. Is that right? That makes sense. Yeah.
Oh, here we go. Yeah, I've been here, but it's been maybe a year. I have a podcast group where I record with, and they generally meet on Tuesdays, so it's kind of a conflict kind of thing. So, but I'm glad to be here tonight.
Cool. Yeah. Our whatever is allowing you to be here tonight, we are the winners. So thank you so much for being here, and come anytime you want. Thanks so much. Round of applause for Wendy Van Camp.
Glad for the invite.
All right. On deck is our featured reader, Denise Dumars. Please welcome now Richard Loringer. Hi, Richard.
Hi. I'm sitting here throwing papers up in the air, trying to decide what to read. But it's sort of because I'm a little verklempt because I learned that an old friend had died, and I'm 65, so that's not like that unusual a thing. But he was like I haven't seen him for a few years, but he was such a powerful force of creativity in New York. And I wonder if anybody happened to know Matthew Courtney from New York City. He would have been bald at any age. Anyway, this guy used to run, and I occasionally you remind me of him, Rick Lupert. Oh, here's his piece of his artwork. All of his artworks were self portraits, and there were thousands of them. Matthew used to run an open cabaret at ABC No Rio in New York for years, and it would go as long as people had stuff to do, and you could do anything you wanted, including fire breathing or juggling cats or short whatever. And Matthew would come in and introduce himself, bald and always in a suit and tie. And he would say, "Honey, I'm homo." And then he would just tell everyone they could do whatever they wanted to. But he'd always say, and this was amazing, he'd always say, "You're on your honor to be amazing." And it worked. They were amazing, amazing shows. I met him at the Stud Bar in San Francisco around the time of the Anarchist Conference there in 1989, and he was completely bald. I don't know if anybody knows the Stud Bar in San Francisco, but maybe a few people do. It was like ratty kids in jeans, ratty gay kids in jeans. He's in a suit and tie and completely bald at the far end of the bar, and I was the only one to go up to him. I was like, "You're not from San Francisco, are you?" And so I wanted to honor him, and my readings are very short, so that's sort of the Matthew Courtney, who was he was on the streets for a bunch of years because he was a really true artist, and ended up addicted to crack and all kinds of stuff. But he ran a booth for his artwork like every day in Soho on one of the streets. Anyway, so when I met him, I'm going to read a piece by Walt Whitman, and I'm going to read a piece that I would have written in 1989, and they're both very short. Because I met him at the Anarchist Conference in San Francisco Without Borders. That led me today to find the 68-page homemade guidebook to the entire week of anarchist things, and he called Without Borders. And here was at the very beginning is this inscription by Walt Whitman, very short. "From this hour, I ordain myself loosed of limits and imaginary lines, going where I list, my own master, total and absolute, listening to others, considering well what they say, pausing, searching, receiving, contemplating, gently, but with undeniable will, divesting myself of the holds that would hold me." Walt Whitman. And it reminds me so much of Matthew. And then because I met him in 1989, I'm going to read a poem I wrote in 1989. And apparently it was a love poem, but I think it must have been about breaking up with my first lover because it's called Eulogy. And so I'm going to read this for Matthew, though Matthew and I were not lovers. And this is very different than the way I write today, needless to say. I was 28 or something. "You came torn open as the night by day, as dross by the alley, as light by the way you walk. You came and came 1,000 times at once, pillar of flame thrust through rock, to sanctify the door thrown wide, to rend your body with its own becoming. Oh, how you came, and came indifferent to your shine, perhaps unknowing, conscious only of the price you pay for burning brighter than the sun. Not mere moths, but 1,000 Icaruses flocked to be swallowed by the blinding gape of your infernal core, your wound. And you, most vulnerable, most love, you came to me as if the sanctum of my waxen arms could salve the rage of your incendiary soul and light you to a gentler ground. But how the underestimation of the heart draws fire to water, wax to flame. For when you called, you stroked my face. I came and came 1,000,000 lifetimes in a single name, 1,000,000 feathers in a love-locked stare, 1,000,000 points of light sundered, crashing through the atmosphere. Never had I so great a force foreseen, nor felt so charged to human chemistry. For I cannot remember who I am, and I am scattered in 1,000 seas, not ash, but chunks of wax, drifting toward 1,000 silent shores. I guess that's sort of a poem about mourning love, but I just just thinking of Matthew, and I just wanted to, yeah. Okay.
Richard, thank you so much for that. Sorry about the loss of your friend. It sounds like they had quite an impact on you through their art and your interactions with them. And it looks like you muted yourself, but you're still talking. So let me click the unmute.
Sorry, I don't want to take up too much time. Matthew had an impact on tons of people. He did so much for performance in New York, and for art and queer things, and that's all. Yeah. So yeah, I'm just feeling a loss. Anyway.
Thank you for all that, and thank you. I'm sure anyone who knew him appreciates you keeping his memory and his work alive by talking about him in this space. So
yeah,
keep doing that. As long as we mention people, it's in a way they're still with us, you know?
Yeah.
Thank you, Richard. Round of applause for Richard Loringer. On deck after our featured reader will be Ken Scott, which leads us now to our featured reader, Denise Dumars. Denise, really happy that you are here. Denise is no stranger to Cobalt Poets. She's here all the time. She's one of ours, as I've already claimed earlier in tonight's event. And I was reading over her bio. There's some things I didn't know about you. Denise has been a fixture in the science fiction, fantasy, and horror poetry scenes for the last several decades. So either I haven't been paying close enough attention to what you've been reading here, or you haven't been focusing on that work as much in this space. And I noticed that you're also the columnist for Starline, which is the journal of the Science Fiction and Fantasy Poetry Association, which is interesting to me because the Science Fiction, Fantasy, and Poetry Association is a group who has been a sponsor of the Poetry Superhighway Poetry Contest for a bunch of years. And so offering subscriptions and things like that to people who consider entering that contest. Those of you who don't know, Poetry Superhighway is a website that I run, which publishes poetry every week and runs a contest every year and does all kinds of things. So we apparently have all these extra connections that I wasn't even aware of. So that's really cool. Her most recent book of poetry, Denise's most recent book of poetry, in case you've lost track of what I'm talking about, is Animal Gnosis from Alien Buddha Press. It's been nominated for an Elgin Award for Best Book of Speculative Poetry. Speaking of speculative poetry, as Wendy was earlier, she's been published in a bunch of cool places, including Pearl, Blue Unicorn, Sheila and a Gig, Poets on Site, anthologies, including the Southern California Haiku Study Group. She's been nominated for Pushcart Prizes, so all kinds of feathers in Denise's cap. And none of that even brings her here as our featured reader tonight. She's here as our featured reader tonight because she's one of our regulars who consistently brings quality and thoughtful work to this space. So Denise, I'm so happy to have you here as our featured reader tonight. And I'm going to set you loose on the audience. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Denise Dumars.
It works again. It's okay now.
What's that?
It's okay.
Oh, okay, good. Thank you.
So happy to be here. I mean, I was absolutely thrilled to get a slot as a featured reader here. And yeah, I guess I wear many hats as a poet and as, a writer of various things, but mostly I think of myself as a writer of weird stuff. Dark fantasy, horror, dark science fiction. And if I could just say one thing about my poetry that kind of sums it up, is that I like to write imagistic poetry. And so whatever the genre is, images are important to me. I'm going to read a couple from Animal Gnosis, which I kind of describe as a book of weird animal poems, although that's both true and not true. One of the ways I organized this book was I thought about, what do animals think about that we don't know, or what do they understand that we don't know? That's where the gnosis comes from, that knowledge, but a connotation of secret knowledge. And as I was going through here and trying to find poems, I've actually read most of these poems at the open readings here, but I was trying to find a couple to read that I hadn't read, and also going through a whole bunch of my other poetry looking for stuff. And I realized I've written an astonishing number of werewolf poems, and I didn't even know that. So I'm going to start with one of those, although it's not just a werewolf in this poem. From Animal Gnosis, we love what we've become. Starts with a quote from Michael Collier's All Souls. We love what we are, we love what we've become. Because tonight is only the moon on a silver platter, and running and baying is the thing that spreads the joy. Who let the wolf out? He howls like the owlet, coos like the pigeon, sniffs the fine pine air, and waves his tail, turns to glower. Who let the cat in? The panther stalking, hiding amongst the leaves, quiet as the wolf is loud, and unseen as the silver moon is seen. Riding amongst the leaves, quiet as the wolf is loud. I read the same line. Her eyes are sunny lamps, and tongue is a pink lozenge to savor. Slipping in and out the sliding door, paws large as catcher's mitts. Dark of the moon would be better, she opines. But wolf is not in agreement. He runs his nose through the lawn like it was a line of rose petals. But panther's nose has already taken in all the herbal goodness of the garden. Small things that scurry should stay still. The bark beneath her claws is crunch and stir and quake the creatures in oaken crevices. Sweet blood makes red the pink, and wolf nose to viscera, hot as love. Panther smiles and hisses. Tonight we love what we've become. And I'll read two more, and then I'll read some other stuff from other sources. This one is another strange one called Frills and Fritillaries. Curve if it does, it must be woman, and the edge of the ruffle twitch. It is the wire that holds the spiral, in the cuff of the colors twirl. So the butterfly curves with each wind gust, and the air does a turn or two. And you like the draping neckline and the slope of the line of the bosom, and the nosegay that tucketh there, simple colors of beige and nacre, rotted silk and the stains of pink, in the tracings of thread gone bad, and the flutter of the gauze curtains. What were you expecting? Wings? What does this determine? Humanity? Or some sort of exotic creature, half of air and half of meat? But you don't think that way now, do you? If she's just marble to you, an exotic, a bird of candy colors, the sweetish scent of decay. You're right, she's no longer human, though she certainly dresses the part, but does not shiver in the evening chill to protect her gossamer skin. Her candy lips you'll know soon enough, as she lifts you as if you were light as the dust-winged butterfly. For she's iron and bone, you see, no natural thing, not human, yet not divine, not animal, nor, well, what she is to you is really none of my business, but there's a drop of something like blood on the tip of your wing collar, and your eyes, though ringed with extravagant lashes, are now clouded of the grave. And last from the book, I'll read this one that Rick's going to have on the broadside, and it has a real quick backstory. It's called Mountain Lion Paws. And I was at a writer's retreat in Wrightwood a few years ago. And I was feeling just slightly suicidal. And we had heard that morning that a guy was out walking his dog and a mountain lion jumped out of the bushes and ate the dog. So that gave me an idea. I thought, well, you know, I'm going to go out on the back porch of this house where the tree is, and I'm going to try to call the mountain lion and see if the mountain lion will do their job. So that's the dark story of Mountain Lion Paws. Mountain lion paws in the drops from truckers' oil pans, in smears on the asphalt. We lost our own way years ago, and now wait for the lion with the static on TV and the San Andreas Fault right outside our door. Come play, lion of the dusty mountains, lion of the killer of oaks, lion of the dry pines, lion of the dying lupine, lion of the agapanthus, I am calling you from the deck of the cabin. Come for your feast, lion. Come for the girl who has not found her way. Come for the girl who has not found her way. Come for the girl who has not found her way back home. Okay, I'll read couple. How am I doing for time? Doing okay? Couple quick ones from here and there. Gotta switch glasses. Tiny print. This one is from I've read some of these for this group too. It's from my Cajuns in Space book. This one I haven't read is called Automatic Heart. And so it starts night's end. The wind and the rustic absinthe, and my eyes tinfoil, and the women steam-powered, and the cold men in red glasses with green eyes. And so my green glass lovely, dead voice box, automatic heart on replay. Meet me in Monte Alban. Give your automatic heart to Huitzilopochtli, to Tyr, to Tyrannus, on the frozen steps of old executions. The absinthe still on fire, my throat tasting of caraway, and the betrayed blonde of my foremothers. And no matter how hard I try, it won't buy your heart. All the electronic chambers disappearing into the black bag of the man who can really afford it. Beat it will, beat for him, but not for me. And because we have some sci-fi coup and haiku people here tonight, I thought I'd just read a couple of haiku. So I've got a page, and this is in Cajuns in Space, I have a page of horror coup and a page of sci-fi coup. Down in the river, a smooth stone catches my eye. The bones I ignore. Tasting rooms close at dusk. Another type of big red flows after sunset. My gingerbread and gumdrop house. Modern children know no fairy tales. Sickle moon rises over condo in Palm Springs. Vampire weekend. Holocene Park. 8 eyes see thylacines, rhinos, the last lumberjack. And I'll read a couple, I don't know if I always bring out like 1,000 poems because I can never decide what to read. So maybe I'll read one from Mars Maundering. This one I kind of like. This is a tiny chapbook of poems I wrote about Mars. All that rust up there, a byproduct of life. So where's the beef? The salt lake underground, the briny ocean ticking just below the surface of Mars. Terrans have a hankering for water, but sweet and clear. Still, without salt, all that water runs out and we dissolve in hallucinogenic dreams. And the folly of colonizing Mars. Colonialism sticks in my craw, dislodging the crawfish of remembering. And couple more. I'm going to read one from a very, very old chapbook of mine called Cheat Lightning. This one was actually published in the 80s, and people seem to like this one as kind of entertaining. It's called Breakfast with Norman Bates. He orders his steak well done, eggs over, hard, rye toast, and coffee, black. I eat corned beef hash, raisin toast, A1 sauce for eggs and hash browns, coffee with real milk. His hands shake, and the coffee slips over the side of the white Melmac saucer. How such trembling hands could do such precision work is beyond me. Taxidermy takes a dentist's touch, a bird's eye. The waitress is plump and looks like Vera Miles. His smile is not easy. His short hair has come back into style. He minds if I smoke. The genuine Formica table between us is cold as a marble slab. And I'm going to end with this one, and this one is for the locals. How many, show of hands, how many people here have been to Gardena, or at least heard of Gardena? Okay, good. We've got some people. All right. Gardena is a town here in the South Bay, and it's well known for being a kind of a haven for Asian and Asian Pacific people, and it's always been that way. And I named this poem after a line. I was listening to a reading by Gareth Hongo, and I misheard a line of his poem, and that is what inspired this. And so it's called Gardena in Her Hair. Maybe it's just the breeze through teriyaki Hawaii on Artesia, now that the waitress has opened the door. Maybe it's the fruit spatter of homemade punch when I fill my paper cup at the dispenser. Maybe it's a sample of Shiseido from Mitsuya, or the scent that red hibiscus is supposed to have, but doesn't. Never mind, I don't need white ginger or pikaki perfume to smell Gardena in her hair. All I know is it's the pan dulce at La Favorita, fresh from the oven, or come to me incense at Nancy's Botanica, or a plate of locomoco at Brutta's, paradise cheesecake at the local place, grass clippings scenting the gasoline afterburn of an edger, plumeria bush by someone's back door. Whatever it is, Gardena is in her hair, and it smells like the city where I was conceived, the city where I drink opal nera at the desert room when I feel sorry for myself, where the old men wink at me and Johnny Cash is on the jukebox. The city where one can wear a flower in one's hair, totally without irony. And as long as you like Spam and or the Virgin of Guadalupe, you're welcomed as a local. An elderly Japanese lady approaches me to ask where I got my flowered slacks. And I smile because I knew someone was bound to ask that sooner or later, and because I smell Gardena in her hair. Thank you.
Denise, thank you. Fantastic reading tonight. Really enjoyed that. There's a ton of great lines in there. I love that you said at the beginning that you're a writer of weird stuff. I like anything weird. Writing whatever it is, if it's weird, please count me in to want to be there and experience it. I'm glad the mountain lion didn't eat you, but now you've given me like a man. That's the way I want to go. Like
There you go.
like
See?
just like
See, it works.
interacting with a cat in that way. Very good. You had a line, my throat tasting of caraway. I know that's what you said. That's what I heard. But then for some reason, the line, my throat tasting of Kerouac came, and that's a whole other.
That's a better line. Wow.
So that's not that. Take it, use it, see if you can get them to oblige. I don't know. There you go on that one. Taxidermy takes a bird's eye. I isn't exactly what you said. I'm sort of paraphrasing, but that'd be a great book title, I think. Just I see a lot of eyeless birds out there because the taxidermists have had their way. And then finally, smells like the city where I was conceived. I'm not even sure what to think about. Like you arrive there and it's like, yeah, this is where this is where my parents did it, and that's how I can you smell that? It smells like that. Really cool reading. Really enjoyed that, and getting a broad sense of your work. I'm gonna paste stuff in the chat, as is my way. There's the stuff I've pasted, and share the broadside of the poem I made for the poem for the broad, whatever. There's the broadside for the poem that you read that I made it for. So any excuse to use pictures of felines of any kind, that's my motto and mission in life. So you can download this now at the Cobalt Poets website, poetrysuperhighway.com/cobalt, or click on the link in the chat. This is how we suggest that you compensate or tip our featured poet for her reading. In this case, also pasted in the chat is both a PayPal and a Venmo ID. So if you're the kind of person who would put money in the hat that gets passed around after a featured reading to give to the featured reader, PayPal and Venmo is the hat, as it were, and you get to sort of purchase one of these broadsides or just download it from the website and give a tip, however you want to think about that. Do that. You can also visit Denise on the web at Denise Dumars. Is it DeniseDumars.com? Do I have that right? I'm gonna. Are you muted, Denise?
Yeah, that's right. It's DeniseDumars.com.
Okay, good, very good. So I did get it right. It's a first, ladies and gentlemen. I got something right. Thank you. And finally, check out Denise's most recent book. She's got a bunch of them. Animal Gnosis. There's a link to it on Amazon. There's a bunch of other books by Denise out, so you can check it all out. Denise, thank you so much for a great reading and for inviting people to be here and being one of ours.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. This was fun.
Cool. All right. One more round of applause for Denise Dumars. I will quickly mention, before we get on to the rest of tonight's open reading, that next week our featured reader will be the poet Gilbert Arzola, who's a poet who I think I saw on Rattle's daily email that goes out. So we're going to hear from Gilbert next week. He's a fantastic writer, so looking forward to that. That leads us to the rest of tonight's open reading. Here's the order and who I have on the list: Ken Scott, Martin Parker, Julian Matthews, Cathabella, Siggy, and Jackie, Robert Sunderman, Karen Scott, Bill Gaines, Carrie Cox, Jennifer Elise Wang, Heidi Casa, Debbie Siegel, and me. If anyone else who's here would like to be added to the list, more than happy to have you. Just send me a message in the chat and I will add you to that list. As a reminder, 2 poems maximum. Less is more is the suggested time limit. And that's it. On deck is Martin Parker. Please welcome our next reader, Ken Scott. Hello, Ken.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening. I just have 2 works. The first piece I'm going to do is my reflection on prophecy and how I view it as arbitrary. And this piece is called Change the Landscape. If a warning sign says that 100 yards ahead, the road ends at a 2,000-foot cliff? Do you speed on toward a certain death? Or do you listen to the voice of reason and turn back? Contrary to religious tradition, we do not have to destroy ourselves because some ancient prophecy said so. And in these desperate times, one man's 1,000-year-old prediction is another man's modern-day playbook for the vilest crimes against humanity. The universal laws have never changed. Prophecy is to cause and effect what roadmaps are to a landscape. Change the landscape, and the roadmaps have to be revised. Likewise, introduce alternative causes and effects, and the original prophecies become obsolete. If an evil brotherhood is using ancient biblical prophecies as a playbook for robbing, oppressing, enslaving, and exploiting the world, then it's time for us to change the landscape of cause and effect. It's time for us to be different. End piece. The next piece has to do with colonization and how it's being brought to another level and how we need to really be on our toes to cope with it. This piece is called The Evil Spirit of the Colonizer. The European colonizers knew that land was a limited resource and that they would eventually run out of new territory to conquer. As such, in their spirit of limitless greed, they set out to colonize a world that was equally limitless: your mind. Everything that has programmed you, your parents, their parents, and many earlier generations is a form of mental colonization, made to keep your soul in bondage to the lower vibrations that weaken you, while the colonizers oppress, enslave, and exploit your life until the day you die, after which they then profit one last time from your death. It is our collective responsibility to cleanse our mind and elevate our vibrations to the celestial realm of eternal love, so that the evil spirit of the colonizer fades to nothingness and the limitless greed is no more. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Ken, thank you. It is indeed time for people to be different. So more of that, please. More different. Thank you for being here. Round of applause for Ken Scott. On deck, Julian Matthews. Please welcome now Martin Park.
Hello again, Rick, and everybody here. As you may have guessed, I've got a couple more poems that at least tangentially reference birds. This first one is one I wrote in college about 40 years ago now. This is called The Visitor. Appearing suddenly, he pauses and takes a deep breath, his chest expanding in a ruffled way, then falling right back. His beak darts and grabs some food, but it gets away and flies off. He inches closer, looking quizzically around, yet somehow fearless, till only a foot out of reach. He circles around to a grassless patch, his head always moving, then just as suddenly, he's off like an arrow, coming to rest in a tree for a moment. Then he's gone. And then this one is much more recent, from December this past year, about my partner to a extent, and it does mention birds. This is called My Partner's Room. The scent of lilacs lingers here like butterflies in the backyard of youth, and stories she's told of this delicate quilt with patterned designs of colorful wings, echoing rings cross-stitched on the wall. A blanket of squares lays tossed across an ancient rocker where hummingbirds play, with pandas and leopards white like snow. When lights turn low, they fade to gray. She nestles within a cozy book that helps hold back this chaotic word, which makes it hard to sleep. And that's it for me today. Thank you very much.
Martin, thank you. Another one for the birds, as it were. Thank you so much for being here. Appreciate it. Round of applause for Martin Parker. On deck, the collab, Cathabella, Siggy, and Jackie. Please welcome now Julian Matthews. Hi, Julian.
Hi. Just share screen. Two short ones. A clarity. I'm a serial free verser, not part of the consensus, don't care for form, meter, and syllable counts. I slice and dice your feet, spondies, throw cheese, fry your hibans into grits, eat your lines with some canned beans, and down it all with a nice bottle of Kentucky bourbon. After which, I lean back, yawn, burp, and fart ever so sated. The night is still young, cloaked with breathless intrigue and filled with the grim silence of the I ams. Grave notice. All cemeteries are cancerous, the parasitoid and the predatory, eating one from the inside out. Your grief has no space in a decaying heart. My rot is my lot, my last hurrah. It is an honor to return to nature. Remember the living life, not the trigger, not the crack of dead fire, not the powder residue on guiltless hands. My body is now a nobody. Even if reduced to ash, it fertilizes, it serves its purpose. It is not merely fodder for this bawling. It heeded Mother Earth's calling. The soul is not a hole in the ground. My absence is still a presence. I will always, always be around. Thank you.
Nice sentiments in that poem, echoing some of the things we talked about when Richard Loringer read about the potential of our being around even after we're physically out of here, as it were. Julian, thank you so much for being here. A round of applause for Julian Matthews. On deck is Robert Sunderman. Please welcome now the collab, Cathabella, Siggy, and Jackie. Hello to all of you.
Hello, Rick. I will attempt to. Here we go. Here is an unusual connection. I remember I asked you, how do you connect noodles and hairstyles? Pasta and hairstyles. We didn't know this could be done ourselves, but we did it. Right, everyone?
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, here we go.
Yeehaw.
And we have also, what do we have here? Is this a noodle of some kind?
Shakuhachi, I'm sure I've played it before. It's an old one. 200 years old, maybe less, maybe more.
It's shaped like some kind of noodle.
Oh, yeah.
What kind of noodle?
Sure.
Rigatoni. Here we go. Okay, pin curl noodles. Tonka time in the tall palm forest. Previously pineapple. We all come home. Like Siggy. Dangling participles. Siggy is home. She's been away in Denver for months. And here she is in Maine. We can tell, right?
Yeehaw.
Yeehaw. Okay. Jackie.
Hairstyled with borrowed spray, the short duration of adolescence in dad's camera lens.
This is a true story. Unbaked macaroni. I tell the hairstylist, soft girls I used to love before the bake. Mom saved the soft noodles just for me.
Choosing winter melon tea in adulthood, the bitterness of life and acquired taste.
A long time deciding which tea to drink. He'd stand gazing, and then in the end, always decide on just hot water. That's what you make pasta in the first place, I guess.
We had basic ways to communicate in old school ways. Print was a pencil or typewriter. Refresh was a wheel eraser plus brush. Mine was green.
Mine was green. Sometimes they're pink. Jackie.
Ordering oolong, I impress my friends at the dim sum, along with the precision of my chopsticks.
I didn't warn people about the tea. The tea is important too, right? Tea, pasta, and the hairstyle. Okay, Siggy.
Tea with honey. Childhood cough medicine. Squeezed lemon added. Mother liked loose brewed. When finished, read the leaves.
Right. We have a little bit of sci-fi in here, I would say. Jackie.
Poor Barbie attending a tea party. Plastic fingers, too stiff to curl around. The year of the cup.
I love that. That really grew on me, Jackie. 100 small flower pinwheels on my head, dreamily spun around my finger. Sprout, stand out, curlicues.
Pin curls first, finding not as easy as I thought. Learned the trick, turning ends under.
Perfect, Siggy, and that's the end. We're turning it under, and there you
Yay!
go. Yay!
And there was some weirdness in some of our poems too.
That's the way I like it, Jackie. It just reminds me of the time I went in to make spaghetti and came out with a perm. I'm not sure how it happened. It was a weird occurrence, but it feels like this is just all possible. I liked your line, the bitterness of life and acquired taste. I thought that was pretty cool, Jackie.
Thank you.
I also, the idea of unbaked macaroni just was interesting to me. Is just that feels like a good metaphor for everything, and maybe a good book title too. Welcome home, Siggy. Glad to have you back. Not that you were gone from us, but back in your home territory. Thank you all.
Yes,
thank you, Cathabella, Siggy, and Jackie. I almost combined all your names into one. Think of all the time we'd save if I could do that. And thank you, Rick.
I hope that did you justice, Denise. We tried to keep our sci-fi tune for you.
Very good. Thank you all very much. Round of applause to the collab, Siggy, Jackie, Katha, Bella, and Rick. Appreciate you guys every single week. On deck, Karen Scott. Please welcome now Robert Sunderman. Hello, Robert.
Okay, it's my turn to read. Sure. It was a dark and stormy night. When you write about the dead, it is best if you knew them personally, though this is not absolutely mandatory. In lieu of this, you may want to examine an object they touched, a ceramic elephant, for example, which, along with 2 spa slippers and a bottle of Asti, you received approximately on your birthday 2 years earlier in a logo-less bag. It was a gift from the now deceased Rosa Vega, who died young, your girlfriend's mother. May she in peace awake. Cat elegy. Hello, kitty. Goodbye, kitty. And I think I'm going to stop while I'm ahead. Thank you very much.
You've really turned things on their heads tonight, Robert. Thank you so much for your work. Nice to hear. Nice to hear you for the first time. I think Cat Elegy was really very powerful. I thought, and I'm not sure what's happening with your camera, but I'm enjoying watching all the poetry rush to your head. So you should see a doctor about that, I think, or a contractor. I'm not sure. Maybe this is an issue in your house, but I'm sure you'll get it fixed. Either way, and in any position, you're welcome back anytime. Thanks for being here.
Oh, thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
My pleasure. A round of applause for Robert Sunderman on deck. Bill Gaines, please welcome now Karen Scott. Hello, Karen.
Hello. It's been a while since I've been back. This first poem is written about my neighbor across the street, and when she finds out that I've now written 2 poems about her household, she might not be that happy. Big boy anger, little boy body. Blam! The wrought iron storm door across the street reverberates and bounces open. He shoves it shut with his whole body, jumps off the stoop, and slams himself into one of the padded chairs on the lawn. He hops back up and throws his small frame across 3 chairs, momentarily, because the anger is still coursing through his body. He stands in the middle of the yard now and stares back at the house, his fury laser focused on someone inside. Could be one of his brothers, his mother, or his mother's boyfriend. Whoever it is, he is enraged, but powerless to express it. I pull my car out of my driveway, slow to a stop on his side of the street, and lower the window. Sorry you're upset, I say. Hope your day gets better. He looks skyward, draws in a breath that fills his whole chest, releases it, and he whispers, I hope so too. And the second one is called Embracing Cronehood. You know the 3 phases of Celtic womanhood, right? Maiden, mother, crone, the cyclic nature of life, and the moon's phases. I have been a maiden, young and beginning my woman journey. I have been a mother, nurturing, protective, growing. I am now a crone, wise, experienced, in a time of reflection and release. In my visualizations of life as a crone, I realize I am well on my way. I want to live in a little cottage in the woods, but not leave Columbus. A few years ago, my neighbor peered over the backyard fence and remarked, I like this forest thing you've got going. I wonder if he has since regretted that as I let the bushes and saplings grow unkempt and grapevines strive to cover the house and wires in the front too. I would like to feed crows, establish a relationship with a murder, and have them bring me shiny bits and baubles as tribute, but I fear that would encourage skunks and trash pandas to frequent my yard more than my corvid kin. I want to forage for plants and herbs, dry them in bundles hung in the kitchen. I want to be as holistic as I can, eschewing big pharma and the unhealth care system. I am learning to listen to my body and plan my day accordingly. Aside from friends who occasionally stop by, I could care less that the door knocker is rarely used. I take my time getting to the door, and once there, I may not open it, especially after dark. I am becoming more feral each day and loving it, often dashing out the door barefoot, continuing to dress on my way to my destination. Sitting in my car after I've been out is my modern version of sitting on the stoop with a shawl over my shoulders. If you see me, don't be afraid to stop by. Maybe I'll give you a poppet or a potion in return. Thank you.
Karen, thank you. How great to see you again. It's nostalgic for me. It has been a while, but I'm really happy that you're here. And yeah, I definitely don't want my neighbors to know the things that I write about them. So I think I get what you're saying there. Publish anonymously and wear a fake mustache. That's how I get through it. So take that to heart. Hope you're doing well in your forest wonder world there in Ohio. Thanks for being here tonight.
Thank you.
Round of applause for Karen Scott. On deck, Carrie Cox. Please welcome now Bill Gaines. Hi, Bill.
Hello. Hi, everybody. Thank you for having me back. I have two shorties. My first is called Makeout Party for the Undead. The line between points A and B is a citizen train for element latitudes and wavy words. A loop of boxcars full of zombies, screaming with voices that nobody hears, standing shoulder to shoulder, wailing lips to lips, always in motion, always in motion. And my other one is called Cold Damage. Icy wind, blown off hot lips, post-kiss, takes the truest aim for the arrow. Bullseye after bullseye after bullseye, with the heartbeat of a tree and the memory of a forest. And though her missiles fly not for me, they pierce me just the same. And that's it.
No choice but just to go with it, Bill. Once you've been gotten, there's no way around it. Thank you. Nice to see you again. Thanks for being here. I love that you introduced it by saying I have two shorties. I had two shorties once, but then I got married and I wasn't allowed to do that anymore. Bill. Sorry, I tried to get through that without laughing, but I couldn't. I just couldn't. Thanks for being here tonight.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. Thanks, everyone.
Round of applause for Bill Gaines, new regular here at Cobalt Poets. On deck, Jennifer Elise Wang. Please welcome now Carrie Cox. Hello, Carrie.
Hello, Rick. Hello, poets. How's everyone? Happy Tuesday. Happy Poetry Day. I don't have anything new this week, so I'm going to read a couple of older poems, which means rhymey poems, because I used to just rhyme constantly. So this is called One Act Trilogy with Intermission. I want to taste your flower because I'm drunk. I want to drown in some deluxe junk. I want more than I need. But don't pin me down with your rumors of greed. I want to look right at the sun. I want to stand up on the shoulders of everyone. I want a new corruption that doesn't condone my half abduction. And if I can't have, spin a wild web that laces around these spiral scream wrists, perchance to dream of the ache of strucken ships that waver and twist like the tinge of your Aesop lips. I need a new way to pronounce the doubt, and I need to build a new road that smothers these westward glances, blocking my way out. I need two dynasties that bear my fictional faces. I need a map that shows the helpless hunger between these newborn spaces. And if I can't have, divide these carnal catastrophes into unequal champions of my will and my won't. and clasp the corners of my closest chambers with their tired tempo against your tarnished tinfoil tantrums until you cringe under the metallic wonder of the echo of blood-red drums. I wish on every triple crown and trip on thorns that wish me down. I bury things that just won't drown, shackled to the cracked concrete, broken bone town where even the dead sleep above ground. I wish I slept inside your mad laughter, climbing the night trees as if it's a broken plate moon it's after. I wish I may go gracefully. I wish you may, I might fade into a play that pretends to tempest, parade like an Arctic day all night. And if I can't have, banish the coils that call my ankles holy, and lift the curtains that describe the color green to my thirst. So many villains reigning invisible in the mirror of prayers to these reeds in a river. The fingers throw away the last words you said, but fold them carefully first. And then I thought with Mother's Day coming up, I'd read a mother poem. So this is called The Answer in Her Eyes. Perhaps it's more powerful than we thought. Perhaps, she says. Well, I haven't been to bed in 3 long nights. I'm all strung up in your shotgun ways. Well, my mother had a broken down Maverick. She drove to the moon and back again, kicked out the windshield and called the police and told them someone broke in. So don't pretend that you know where I've been. My whiskey sick voice is not here to haunt you. I never could sing or tell a good joke. I never could convince you I want to. And it's a long dirt road that carries me home. So much for being afraid. Locked up, locked down, it's really the same. And we all sleep in a bed that someone else made. And now I feel the sun coming up, and I wish I had time left to sleep. A hard edge tomorrow to cut open these miles. We always lose more than we keep. So if I'm a dying breed of an angel and my tongue is too tired to speak, give me the fire of unfinished fates, the gravel that paves the wrong side of the street. Her mouth always knew the way to explode. It's never surprising to me. A mother, a lover, a broken down car, a basement of secrets, and a skeleton key. All she left behind was me. All she left behind was me. Perhaps it's a long ways down this time. Perhaps, she says. And his hands were too rough for a father, and her hands were too weak to fend off the night. The coyotes howled too close to the door, her skin just a little too white. A stone in the river of Jordan, untouched in the heart of a black-winged bird, cold like a dead piece of double-edged sword, the silence of the sins that should never be heard. My father says he hates no man. As the phone slips from my hand, a lover, a brother, a backseat uncovered, guilty and red like blood on the hands, and this time, who takes a stand? This time, who takes a stand? Perhaps it's time to walk away. Perhaps, she says. Don't run away from the night, you say. Well, perhaps there's no reason to stay. Perhaps there are things left too long unsaid. Perhaps, she says. Take me into the mountains tonight. I need one chance at a life. Surrendering to a soft moment of something might be all that I need to survive. Perhaps I've always belonged in between days. Perhaps, she says. Thank you.
Carrie, thank you. Always a treat to have you in this space, see what your background might be on any given evening, and hear what you've chosen to bring us. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. Thanks,
round
everyone.
Of applause. Yeah, round of applause for Carrie Cox. On deck is Debbie Siegel. Please welcome now Jennifer Elise Wang. Hello, Jennifer.
Hey. So since we did werewolves, zombies, Karen got a little bit of witchy vibes, I gotta bring in vampires. So my first poem is kind kind of about vampires. It's titled Reasons I Want to Be a Vampire. I'm fairly nocturnal already. I love bats, cats, spiders, and wolves. Vampires have a wicked sense of style. See Lestat, Celine, Pam, Marceline, Spike, etc. Sleeping in a coffin sounds peaceful. People will take me seriously when I'm hangry. People will take me more seriously in general, because looming presence and fangs. Men will regret telling me to smile more. I already look young, so might as well actually not age, and I'll just eat anyone who thinks my ID is fake. Do I even lift? Why, yes, 3 times my body weight. I can move even more quietly. No one would get mad at me for running late, because I move too fast, or I'll just eat them. I won't ever have to ask you to repeat what you said. Goodbye, orthodontal woes. No more glasses or contacts or allergy meds. No more sweating, overheating, or freezing my ass off, except when I'm malnourished. Never having to worry about COVID again. Lack of vitamin D won't make me depressed. I hate seeing myself in the mirror anyway. I kind of fade into the shadows, so why not be able to disappear? I want to die, but I also want to live. This could be a happy medium. And my second piece, to kind of continue the speculative theme, this was a sonnet I wrote for a fanzine for the Dungeons and Dragons series I follow, Shadows over Velda. And the series is abbreviated SOW, so I called it SOWnet 1 because Shakespeare never titled his sonnets, so I'm not going to either. And it's after the prologue to Romeo and Juliet, and basically is a prologue to the D&D series. 2 households, both aligned with wickedness, in Lothlorien, where Helots are seen. From ancient grudge grew minions villainous, a lord of lies against the Spider Queen. From forth the fatal loins of these 2 foes, a pair of star-crossed lovers reunite, by Warlock's scheme, in exchange to propose his misadventure quest for godlike might. This fearful fallout freedom has released, with the continuance of grandfather's rage. A puzzle our reluctant heroes pieced is now the center of the DM's stage, the which if we with patient eyes may view, and hope amidst the shadows, light breaks through. And I will post a link to the zine, which is free to download and has a lot of really fabulous fantasy art in addition to our writing.
Sweet. Jennifer, great poems. You got me thinking about werewolves now again tonight. That apparently is our theme. So well done. But vampires, you were doing vampires, sorry. You never have to apologize for vampires. That's my new motto. Great reading tonight. Thank you so much for joining in the theme and the spirit of what we do here. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Round of applause for Jennifer Elise Wang. On deck is me to close out the open reading. Please welcome now Debbie Siegel. Hi, Debbie.
Hi, Rick. Hi, everyone. I've got one brief announcement and one brief poem. So this Saturday, Richard Loringer and myself are going to be out in San Francisco's Chinatown at the Clarion, and we're going to be helping our friend Milo Starr Johnson with her book release. And Richard has a link that he would be, if it's okay, he could put it in there. So come on out if you're in the Bay Area. It will be fun. Richard will have the link. And my brief poem, In the Amber. Trapped in somebody else's story, restless legs in the air to hold up the heavens if they fall. Why would you throw yourself at the flame? We used to wander around the Golden City as kids, sniffing sandalwood, licking vanilla. We'd spy the waning light and stick pins in our hands. That's how we'd know it's a dream. I just remember wanting to get out, looking for a door, crying, why should I be the one to dream this dream? Thank you.
Great ending, both in words and how it was delivered. Debbie, nice job. Nice to see you again. Thanks for being here. Good luck at that event. I hope it goes great. As soon as they build that instantaneous channel to get us from Southern Cal to Northern Cal, we can all hang out more, I think. Things that we should be doing. Round of applause for Debbie Siegel. All right, I'm going to close out the open reading with a couple of poems. I wrote somewhere, I think in 2006, a poem from the point of view, or not from the point of view, about werewolves, perhaps. It's called Werewolf, and I was inspired to look it up and find it. It's from a free ebook. I put out a free ebook of poems every year. I'm pasting a link to that in the chat if you would like to check it out. The book was called The Rick Lupert Fun Club. That's fun. And the poem is called Werewolf. Those other 29 days when the moon taunts you, sometimes just a sliver. Those 29 days when you're not on all fours with flesh in your mouth, when you're not a monster. Do you make friends with the people, see their movies, talk with them in public like you think you're people? How about a human girlfriend? Does she wonder what happens to you that one night? Are you two in sync? Every time there's a full moon, it's her time of the month, doesn't even come over, never notices the missing clothes, the dirt on your fingers, the guilt in your eyes. Do you eat salads at restaurants, baby greens with a pleasant gorgonzola? For God's sakes, how do you pay for it all? Employment? You? What if your boss needs you to work that one night? There's no one else. What do? He's got a file on you, reads the news. One day, when the moon is big, he'll put it all together, point his human finger at you. Can you already taste this? Just before the fear takes him, before you open your mouth, he'll get on his knees, beg you, make him live forever. Werewolf. I got me thinking now that I've read that again. Maybe it's vampires who live forever, not werewolves. Werewolves could die of old werewolf age, right? They don't live forever. This whole poem is a lie, apparently. Sorry about that. And I'm also going to read the poem I wrote for this week's Torah portion, which has a line in it that I found troubling regarding a man who lies with a male as one would with a woman. Both of them have committed an abomination. They must be put to death. That's from this week's Torah portion. This poem is called Every. Love is love is love is love is love is love is love. Every soul, every set of lips, every arm and leg, every length of hair, every color of skin, every skirt or pants, every visible knee, every preference, every politic, every new and old, every kindness, every breath, every poem, every longing, every warmth, every shelter, every first, every last, every border, every blurred line, every hand, every whisper, every bold statement, every epitaph, every garden, every gate, every you and you, every one, love is love is love is love is love is love is love. All right, there you go. That was me. You were so great, Rick. Oh, thank you so much. Really appreciate that. All right, folks, I want to say thank you to everyone for being here, and especially, of course, thanks to our featured reader, Denise Dumars, whose last name I pronounce correctly 83% of the time. The numbers are in. I pasted some stuff in the chat, the stuff I pasted earlier. You can tip Denise for her reading either via PayPal or Venmo. Please do that. It's awfully nice for a poet to get anything for having made art, whether it's money, whether you buy their books or something like that. Please do. You can check out Denise's broadside at the Cobalt Poets website link that's there. Of course, there all the hundreds of broadsides that have been published. You can check out from many years of doing this. Click on calendar when you're on that website and see who's coming up next. Next week, Gilbert Arzola will be here, a poet I came across via Rattle's daily poem. Also on that website, if you're not on our weekly email list, click on email list. You can add your email there, and we send out 2 emails every week with the flyer and with a convenient Zoom link. Finally, back to Denise Dumars on in the chat. There's a link to her website, DeniseDumars.com, and a link to her book, her most recent book, Animal Gnosis, on Amazon. So check it out if you're so inclined. A great open reading, great night. Good to see friends new and old here. I'm going to click on the Ask All to Unmute button. Feel free to say hi, everyone.
Hi, everyone.
Hi, everyone.
Hello, everyone.
Hey, everyone.
Hi, everyone.
Thanks, Ellen.
Vampires and werewolves.
Have a good night.
man.
Even to the back.
Telling you.
Oh,
Good night, Gracie.
everyone.
Hi, Gracie.
Hi, Gracie, everyone.
Yes.
Oh my goodness, that was an excellent feature, Denise. That
Thanks
was,
for coming out, everyone.
that was
Yeah, thank you, everyone.
That was great.
This was fun. Thanks for letting me read and being weird as I always am. So
That was super
oh,
good.
the pleasure.
It was
of
a
ours.
really good feature, Denise. I really enjoyed your work, as I always do, but it was good to have a big chunk of it all at once. It was really nice.
oh, thank you. That's very sweet. All right. Well,
Oh
I'm
my goodness, it's tomorrow here in Maine.
wow.
Different.
Wow.
Good night. Love you.
Tomorrow here now, too.
What part of
Time
Maine?
warps, baby. Let's do the time warp again. Oh, sorry.
Fine. It's just a
Just giving away my
construct.
age.
Come on.
Anyway, take care, guys. It was good to catch you here, Denise,
Bye.
as well as last weekend. So
Yeah.
I'll be
Good
seeing
night,
you again.
everybody. I'm tired now.
Bye.
This is way past my bedtime. I really enjoyed the evening though. Thank you.
You have to come back and be upside down again.
Oh,
Yeah,
that was
that
me.
upside down thing was so
Crazy.
good.
The upside down guy. Oh my God.
That's
Okay,
kind
good
of
night,
like
everyone.
kind of like the
Good
time
night.
warp.
Good night, Denise. That was
Gotta get on Zoom more often.
Hi,
All
people.
right, you guys. Good
I should
night.
go too. Thank you, everybody. Thank you,
Good
Rick.
night from tomorrow.
Goodbye, my fancy.
I invited Frog and he showed up at the last possible second. So next time.
Yep, that's how it always works. You know.
That's all right. We'll dial it in better because I forgot how to link you. So good night.
Night, all.